amazing, but whoever got out front had such a huge advantage. So, I got a good restart, and Kevin, for some reason, wasn't getting good restarts, so Joey was sort of out there by himself, and I was able to get to his quarter. When I got in his quarter, I drug him back, and I was able to shoot to the bottom and get by. But he made a heck of an effort. I thought he was going to get back by me. He almost did. And I just need a couple laps for my tires to come in, and all of a sudden we're out front setting sail, and the checker flag is waving. This is just unbelievably awesome. And got to say hi to Ingrid and Ella and Leo back home. They couldn't come today, but we're celebrating your honor here, and this is amazing. This is just fantastic.
Jeff, you said it on the radio. It's been quite the ride this season. 3 victories already. What is it about this car, maybe the rules package this year, that's just playing into your hands? What is it about you guys?
It's everything. It's Hendrick Motorsports and the job that they do collectively with all of our teammates and the engineers. Everybody's building the chassis and bodies and preparing these cars back at the shop. Engines are amazing. And then I got to give so much credit to Alan Gustafson and his crew. I mean, this guy is such a great leader. I knew that he had this in him, and he's been showing it by bringing great race cars every weekend. And today was more than just a great race car. It took the whole team effort, making great calls. And of course, I had a good restart again. That was fun. But man, these guys, they're just awesome. I love it. Rick Hendrick's here. I love celebrating wins with him.
Just like at Indy, with 17 to go, had the restart of his life, and just like at Indy, it was in the same race car.
Welcome to NASCAST 500, the only NASCAR podcast that doesn't go yes, yes, yes to Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Dale Jr., Danica Patrick, and other people. I'm Elizabeth Moxley, and I'm joined by
Philip Mathew.
And Hamm.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Oh.
Okay, we are in Michigan, and I really didn't give a shit for this race.
Yeah, neither did I. It was a pretty boring race. I mean, the whole weekend in Michigan was pretty shitty. Really didn't catch trucks all that much. I watched like the last, 30 laps because I woke up and I was like, oh, fuck. And I turned on the truck race and I'm like, wait, Kyle's not leading? Holy shit. So it was cool to see a non-Cup driver win a truck race, but the race still sucked. And for Cup, it was kind of the same. I mean, really, besides the cautions that took out a lot of my guys like Kurt and Larson and had Brad hit the wall but still came home 8th, the race just sucked. I mean, it was just awful. Even when Gordon won, it didn't make up for the fact that the race sucked ass.
I mean, it's typical. Adam and I were talking about it before the show. It's typical Michigan fare. The cars, all they talked about, the crappy announcing, oh my God, they're going 200 miles an hour average. It's like, there's a problem with that. If you're going over 200 miles an hour average on a lap, there's no way that you're going to have proper racing. You've got to have, you need to be slower, you need slower, like top end, or you need or better yet, if you're going to go that fast, you got to make it so hard to go that fast that it's impossible really. Like, they're testing, they had the crappy weekend, and then they go and do all these aerodynamic changes and trying to figure out ways. They're going to cut 100 horsepower, and they're going to do all these aerodynamic, winglets and crap like it's an Indy car or something. It's like, look, put 900 horsepower, give them 950 horsepower, go and give them a tire that actually is that wears out during a fuel run, and take off most of the spoiler. You look at the racing 20 years ago, the people got spread out, yes, but the fact is the people who had the best cars were the ones that got up there. It wasn't an issue with aero push and aero this and aero that. You run what you brung, and you did a really good job with it. And the people who had the handle that weekend did work, and the ones who didn't just came back the next week and they had to recover. So I mean, the point is they have part of it right, but as part of NASCAR, they figure out a way to fuck something else up when one thing they have right is there, but the other parts they don't. So, I mean, Michigan was never going to really be a good race. It wasn't a great race earlier in June. I mean, Gordon winning is not shocking. He had the best car, basically. Him and Joey Logano had the two best cars all weekend, and it ended up sticking. So, whatever. I'm indifferent one way or the other. As long as it's not certain drivers like, Johnson or Junebug winning or something, or Candy Cane or whatever, I can kind of live with it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, like, how you were saying, like, 20 years ago, how everyone got spread out. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, now in 2014, the competition level is way higher than it used to be. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, here's the scenario. Take Jimmy Johnson now, transport him back to 1985, and have him race against Bill Elliott, Tim Richmond, Rusty Wallace, all these other guys back in the day, and Dale Sr., and then see how long it takes for him to get his ass whooped and get in the garage. Johnson wouldn't last a fucking day, he wouldn't last a week in Cup back in the 80s because, oh, well, Johnson's a badass. I was reading some status and my friend was like, oh, Johnson's a badass. I'm like, no, he's a dumbass. The fact of the matter is that back in the 80s, everything was harder to come by. Racing was harder to come by. Wins were harder to come by. Top fives and poles were hard to come by. When you had Bill Elliott, Tim Richmond, Darrell Waltrip, Neil Bonnet, all these other guys dominating, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, all these other guys back in the day that whooped ass each and every week knew that it was hard as shit to do it. And some of them did it without power steering. Whereas today, the only big concern is, oh, well, maybe we're just going a little too fast in Michigan. Whoop-de-fucking-do. So what if they're going 207 at Michigan? The 200 mile an hour barrier was going to be broken one year or another. May have taken 27 years to do so, but that doesn't really matter. The fact is that Michigan hasn't been putting on any good races for quite a long time. I'm going at least 15 years since the last time I actually thrown a good Michigan race. The thing I really don't like about Michigan is the fact that there's so much fuel mileage. I fucking hate fuel mileage races because you never know where your driver is going to finish. So let's say Brad was leading, right? With 15 to go, he has to pit. And then that pretty much takes him out of the window. Then you're like, okay, well, who's leader now? And everything's so fucking confusing. And even though they have a fuel injection in their cars that's been going on for the past 2 years, it's the fuel mileage is still an issue, especially in a track like Michigan. And it really didn't impress me this weekend. Nothing really impressed me this weekend. The only thing that really got my hair fired up was seeing Larson wreck, and Brad hit the wall, and Kirk racing Logano for the lead and hitting a wall. And the fact that Logano was, basically brake checking before each restart, so that way he would get away with a clean restart. And then he was crying and bitching about how he lost the race and how Gordon was playing games with him. I'm like, dude, you were the one who was playing games with Gordon and everybody else, and Gordon just beats your ass. Plain and simple. Quit your bitching.
Well, he does that all the time. That's just typical. I mean, for a guy who's supposed to have as much talent as he does, he spends so much time bitching about restarts. If he actually focused on getting good restarts, he might actually win a few more races. But that's neither here nor there.
All right, so let's go down the list. Gordon, Harvick, Logano, Menard, Earnhardt Jr., Boyer, Hamlin, Kozlowski, Fucktard, and Biffle.
I'm really surprised with Menard finishing fourth. I mean, he finished the same way I think he did in June and when we finished last year. So I was kind of wondering if Menard had an outside chance of winning the race, and I honestly thought that if there was another caution, maybe he would get by Logano. He was racing Logano pretty hard for third, and he was going to get third until maybe the last lap they were coming out of turn 3, and then Logano magically got by him, and I was really surprised by that. And Boyer actually having a top 5 or a top 10, holy shit, this year really has been shitty for not only just him, but Michael Watts racing in general. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, there's just something going on with that team. And then I was talking to somebody,
an asshole.
Yeah.
They suck, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was talking to one of my friends, and they're like, hey, so what, do you think Boyer's going to leave at the end of this year? I'm like, as much as I think he should, he won't. There's no other.
He signed an extension. He signed a long-term extension earlier this year.
Yeah, he ain't gonna leave. He ain't gonna leave for a long time. Basically, it's going to turn into a Biffle thing where he spends a lot of years at MWR and then just starts falling to shit but can't leave anywhere. And the fact that his debut year with MWR, he won 3 races, finished 3rd in points, and then the last 2 years have just been shitty, this last year and this year. And I honestly do not see him winning the race unless if it's like some crap bets like Talladega or some shit like that. But other than that, I really don't see him doing much. And, of course, we got Johnson finishing 9th. And, of course, everyone knows that I hate Johnson. We all hate Johnson.
Yes,
but
we do.
the fact that he finished 9th, after breaking a gear shift lever, and had to use vice grips. Okay, now that was cool. I would probably welcome that if it wasn't the 4018. But since they did it, I was just like, they just can't lose. NASCAR won't let them lose, will they? Honestly, I thought that when that happened, I thought he was going to finish a couple laps down and finish in the 30s, but no, magically found some way to finish 9th. And then, of course, he had that little altercation with Newman. And being a Newman fan, I was kind of pissed because of the words he used to describe what happened on the track. Mike Massaro interviewed him on ESPN. He said, quote, "What happened was normal Ryan stuff." I'm like, okay, watch the replay, you fucking twat. You were the one racing Newman like a dickhead. Your car got loose, and you ran into Newman, and then the second lap, you ran into him again. You have literally no right to bitch at Newman when it's really not his fault. He was trying to keep his line, and you were being a little bitch, and just couldn't lose 9th. You had to race Newman for 9th, like you were racing for the fucking win. And Newman has a temper on him. I will admit that, even though Newman's one of my guys. The fact that Johnson can't and will not ever take blame for his actions and always has to blame it on other things. Oh well, it's Goodyear. Oh well, it's the track. Oh well, it's the car we had. Oh well, it's the driver for doing this. I'm like, and this is why a lot of people don't respect you, because you don't have respect for other drivers. You just expect respect because you've won 6 championships. That's another reason why I fucking hate him, because he just thinks he's so entitled because he's won 6 titles. I really don't understand why so many people think he's, the fucking god of NASCAR, which really pisses me off. And then I was reading some of the comments on NASCAR memes, and this one guy was like, the people who are mad at Johnson are just jealous because their driver hasn't won 6 championships. And I'm just like, do you Johnson fans have nothing else to go on besides that argument? Like, seriously, every time I bring this up to somebody, I'm like, can you Johnson fans ever bring up the fact that he hasn't won 6 championships and our driver hasn't, in comparison of how better he is compared to everyone else? Give me a fucking break. So, yeah, I was pretty pissed about that for a good hour for what he said and did to Newman. And I just think that one of these days he's gonna realize that he was an asshole, and that what he's doing, a lot of people won't respect him because of how arrogant and selfish he is.
Jimmy Johnson's going to bring back the blue paint scheme on his car in Bristol.
Oh, yippee.
He's going to crash it.
I'm so excited for that.
I mean, whatever. So am I. With him and his paint scheme, it could be pink for all I care. He could go and shove it up his ass. I mean, the fact of going off of what Adam was saying with this whole no neck and Jimmy Johnson. I mean, I was having this debate with Randy, who's on the page. He's one of my buddies, and he hates Ryan Newman like the plague. And I'm no fan of Newman either, but at the end of the day, he races everybody the same way. So the logic that, that's typical Newman racing, it's like, look, at the end of the day, Ryan Newman's trying to battle for a chase spot. You already got a chase spot because of all your damn wins. You broke a gear shift, and somehow or another, through the miracle of cautions and all kinds of 74 pit stops, it only happens with Johnson. It's the one thing that pisses me off. One thing that pisses me off more than anything about the guy. Somehow or another, it's like miracles happen. He can knock the whole entire right side off of his car and still finish in the top 10. Anybody else that happens to, they finish in 20. Like, nothing ever bad happens to the guy. I'm waiting for the guy to get turned and put in the wall real hard. That's what I look for. Honestly, the guy deserves it. Because he's such a punk ass at the end of the day. Him and his little bitch of a crew chief are both punk asses. Like, they're just so entitled that it's like unbelievable. Like Newman is racing for a top 10 spot. What? He's been there all day. Johnson's in the back repairing his freaking gear shift because he ripped it off somehow. I don't know. They go and get a pair of ice grips. That's been going on for years. And then also you have the stupid the TMZN announcers going and saying, oh, he's in a slump, he's in a slump. Who the fuck cares? Every summer he sucks without fail. When he wins championship, when he doesn't win championship, he always sucks in the summer for like 2 months. And then miraculously in September, all of a sudden they click into another gear and go back to winning championships. It's like, what are you trying to do? You think people are that dumb? I mean, there are enough dumbasses that watch the racing anyway. That's what the point is. That's who they're pandering to.
Here.
There's enough. They pander to enough idiots to where they believe, oh, Johnson's having a slump. You just look at his stats from every one of his championship years. You look at his summers. The vast majority of them, he's had bad stretches. You know, it's the opposite of what Tony Stewart does, where Tony would go and have great summers, and that would push him towards, a championship. Like now, this guy goes and does this, and oh, everybody freaks out. Like, shut the fuck up and call it what it is. He's having a rough run. Oh well, he's gonna recover and be fine. I mean, outside of that, I mean, whatever. The two of them are full of shit. They're both hypocrites. Neither of them like having anybody else race them hard. They're full of crap. So I was neither here nor there. The reason that Newman gets a lot of crap because he doesn't win a lot, and it's true, he doesn't win a lot. I think he's had one win on merit in about the last 10 years. So I mean, maybe 2. Like that's the whole point. But he doesn't win a whole lot, and he's only won like 1 or 2 races on merit. So I mean, it is what it is. Gordon winning, he was the dominant figure. Him and Logano, as I said earlier. Harvick, another second place. I mean, it's consistency, but not closing the deal in these races. Eventually he's going to get to him, and he's probably going to blow a gasket at some point. Menard had a great run. I mean, he's flirting with a chase spot. He's the best RCR car, frankly, of the bunch. Earnhardt pulled out a 5th out of his ass. That's how this year is going. No matter what, he does different strategies with Letarte and gets it. Boyer getting a 6th place finish when you consider they're down a bunch of horsepower. It was pretty good for him. I mean, he's not making the chase unless they win a race.
Which I highly doubt this year.
Which is highly doubtful. I mean, Hamlin's whatever. Who cares? Keselowski recovered to finish after hitting the wall to finish 8th, which is, considering he was on a mini slump, it's pretty good for him. Biffle pushed the top 10 out, which for him, considering how the struggles have been all year, they came with some new motor package. Roush did, because all the cars qualified really well. Of course, Carl Edwards missed the setup big time and was nowhere. Richard actually finished on the lead lap for once. Actually beat his pathetic girlfriend.
Pathetic girlfriend.
Marcos Ambrose had a pretty good run at one of his better tracks. AJ pulled out after winning at Watkins Glen. A 13th place finish at a intermediate is pretty good. Richard, and then she wrecks half the field or 7 cars and gets away with it, while everybody else that was involved in the wreck. I mean, frickin' Jeff Burton fell on the sword for her, like everybody else does in the media. Like, that was one of the moments that got to me, was that wreck that she caused because she has no talent. And then the whole entire announce booth was like silent for 30 seconds, trying to figure out the way to explain it without blaming her for losing her talent. And then when Jeff Burton had some problem with an exhaust or whatever ended up happening, then he basically fell on the sword for her, which is bullshit. Because Jeff Burton's done more. He's won more races than she'll ever win in lifetime, if she could dream of winning. He's won the Southern 500. He's competed for championship. He's a good man. He's one of the best people in the sport. And hopefully he'll be able to be, because I'm pretty sure Steve Letarte is not going to be able to be unbiased. I hope Jeff Burton is unbiased doing his announcing. He's a lot like Ricky Craven, because that would be good for the sport when he takes, he's a lead analyst for NBC next year. Kenseth, rough day, got taken out in that wreck. Larson hit the wall, or got nailed by Junebug. That was the thing. Junebug got cleared out of the pits and ran into Kyle Larson's left front. Totally ruined his day. He had a car to win. Allgaier got screwed over by Pucomania. So did Trevor Bayne, Michael Annett. Martin Truex just cannot buy luck. If his life depended on actually running well, I don't know if he'd make it because it's just unbelievable.
He had a crappy weekend. Come on, his girlfriend just had cancer surgery, and he's like,
well, he's come. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's the thing. Like it doesn't matter what goes on with Martin. Like there's like a black cloud over his head. No matter what car he drives, it's just brutal. I mean, and it makes it worse that Kurt Busch was finishing top 5, top 10 every single week. Because now that they've basically fallen off to the point where he's worse than Regan Smith, it doesn't look very good for that whole group. And then with AJ Allmendinger basically becoming that lead supply team, whatever the satellite team for RCR, he's doing better than Newman in a sense and Austin Dillon in a lot of ways. So it's not a good look for them. I mean, there was Austin Dillon finished 22nd. He was not a factor at one of the tracks that he's ran many races at. Other than that, I mean, Brian Vickers started 4th, finished 19th. He was never a factor at a track he's won at before. The fact that she got away with wrecking all those cars and finished on lead lap just pissed me off, but I was like, whatever. It's typical of the bullshit that happens. They'll call all kinds of caution. I think they should rename the Lucky Dog the Sparkle Pony Award because honestly, she's gotten more Lucky Dogs and
it's
wave
favoritism.
around.
It's absolute favoritism just because she has a vagina.
Well, I mean, hell, I mean, Jimmy Johnson doesn't have one or two to our knowledge, and or Casey Kane, and they get the same kind of treatment. So I mean. It is what it is. I mean, the race sucked cock, and hopefully at Bristol, they always trump up the Bristol night race, so hopefully Bad Gear actually brings a decent tire and they can run and race this weekend, because the fuel mileage derbies that have been going on for the exceptional Watkins line have been awful, and need to have something good.
I was trying to find an article that I saw this morning on I think it's about Hendrick, the Hendrick team, and they're saying which Hendrick driver will be the champion this year. And I try to look for it, but it says it's probably showing favoritism to the Gordon. And I'm like, I hope it's Gordon, because if it's Jimmy Johnson again, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I really hope Gordon pulls a 5th championship, because it's been 13 years since his last championship, and he's been going through a lot of slumps. 2002 and 3 weren't all that good for him. He only picked up 2 wins per season. 04 is when he really started to get back into the hunt again and finished, I think, third
8 points out. Yeah.
Yeah, I finished 3rd in the chase. 6 wins, 7 wins around there, and probably would have won that championship had it not been for the chase. 2005, although he won Daytona and both Martinsville races, he still didn't make the chase, and that was when Robbie Loomis got canned. Steve Letarte came on for the 7 seasons they were together for. 2006, he made 2 more wins, got back into the chase. 2007, which still burns my ass to this day, where he picked up 7 wins, should have won the fucking championship, but of course NASCAR showing the favoritism to Jimmy Johnson and just let him have it. And 2008 really wasn't that good for him. He didn't even pick up a win, his first winless season since his rookie year, 93. Still made the chase though, finished 8th. 2009, he won 2 races. No, he didn't even win 2 races, he won like 1 race. Still made the chase, finished 3rd behind Fitzpatrick and Martin. Didn't win a race in 2010, still made the chase. 3 wins in 2011, finished in the top 5, or I think he finished in the top 5. Got 2 wins in 2012, still made the chase, then finished in the top 5, and then last year he picked up that win at Martinsville and had a chance to be a contender for the championship, but blew a tire at Texas, and that fucked him over. I honestly would love to see Gordon win another championship, because I've been a Gordon fan since '97, and that's since I was 3. So that's going 17 years of being a lifelong Gordon fan. I hope that if any of the Hendrick drivers gets it, it'll be him. Because we all know one thing: it's not going to be Kane. Kane's not making the chase. He's fucked. There's no other race he can win besides, unless if he magically wins at Bristol or Atlanta. If he doesn't win those two, he's not going to make it.
He's won at Richmond though, so. I mean.
Oh yeah, well, it's been like
10 years.
Yeah, it's been almost 10 years since from there. But those are the 2 tracks I see him doing good on. But other than that, if he doesn't win them, he's fucked. Junior's already in the chase, but I honestly don't think he's going to be in the championship. Yeah, exactly. This is Junior's forte in the chase. He does good before he gets in there. First couple races go good, and then somehow, somewhere or another, in midway of the chase, he starts sucking ass. Just look at last year. He almost had a chance to win at Dover, let Johnson beat him. Almost had a chance to win at Texas, let Johnson beat him. And, magically and miraculously, he managed to finish inside the top 5, which I find really surprising in the points. Because he hasn't finished to the top 5 in points since 2004. So he finished 4th. Yeah, 2004 was the last time he finished inside the top 5. And if he finds some way to finish better than 4th, I'm going to be really surprised. And I told myself this year to all my NASCAR friends that if Johnson won a 6th championship last year, I was going to not watch Cup anymore. But I decided to give myself one more chance, and I told myself, if he wins his 7th championship, I'm fucking done. This time, I'm not going back on my word. I'm keeping my word, and I'm only going to watch Nationwide Trucks because I'm not going to watch my favorite sport get fucking raped into the ground by some fucking asshole who is sadly from my home state, and most people are like, oh, well, since Johnson's from California, you gotta support him. But the fuck I don't care if he's from my hometown of Hesperia. If he's an asshole. I will never support Jimmy Johnson. Most people get on me, oh, well, Johnson drives a Chevy. You gotta support Johnson. No, I don't. I don't even have to support him because he's teammates with my favorite driver, Jeff Gordon. I do not have to support Jimmy Johnson because he drives a Chevy and because he's from California. Fuck that. And another thing that most people tell me is because, well, you can't really deny his greatness in the sport. Yes, I can, because his greatness was achieved by the fact that Mr. Hendrick, or should I say the convict, that's what we should call him, the convict,
but we can't say that.
Felon.
We can't say that because he got a pardon from Bill Clinton. That's the reason why I hate Bill Clinton.
Well, he paid him off, so that's
yeah. If Rick Hendrick deserves to go to jail for what he did, lying about his leukemia bullshit. Because there's tons of people out there who actually are battling leukemia and can't buy their way out of it. And it's fucked up how most NASCAR fans overlooked that in the 80s he owned a Honda dealership and was embezzling lots of money and receiving presents from other companies, which by means are money. He got money for all this other shit he did in the 80s. And then he magically got caught and was placed on house arrest for about 3 years and was gonna go to jail for what he did. But they're like, we'll let him slide. If he does it again, we might send him to jail.
Let's see. He said he had cancer. Why didn't he lose any weight? If you're going through chemo and radiation, chances are you're going to lose tons of weight.
Yeah, and how he got fatter from the fact that he said he had leukemia is just like when he got back to the track and started owning the team again, he looked fatter than ever. And look at him now. Now he's like fucking Boss Hog. Like, Jesus Christ, he gained a shit ton of weight. And I'm really surprised that he hasn't been a spokesperson for Zaxby's or KFC or Popeyes. Because it looks like he's ate a ton of that while he was on house arrest. Like, god damn. And, I didn't really find out about Rick Hendrick, that whole ordeal that he did, until like 2009. Because I had only been in the sport full time for 2 years, 2007 2009. And I really didn't understand. So I went on Wikipedia, I looked at it, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And NASCAR let him get away with this shit? What the fuck is this? So after that, after Johnson won his 4th championship, I lost respect for Rick Hendrick. All respect. I don't have no respect for Rick Hendrick. He can go fuck himself for all I care. It's just because my favorite driver, Jack Gordon, drives for him, and a couple of my other guys, a whole pack of guys like Jr. And Kane. That doesn't necessarily mean I support Henry Motorsports only, and that does not mean I support Johnson whatsoever. And it sucks because I used to be a Johnson fan. Not gonna lie, used to be a Johnson fan back in the day, like when I first got into NASCAR. But then when he won his 4th championship, I thought, wow, this is fucked up. Why are they letting him get away with this shit? And when he won his 5th championship, that's when I really started to fucking loathe him. And then since every day since then, I've been like, I'm going to see him, and now I'm going to see the champion than Kyle Busch. And this is coming from a guy who used to loathe Kyle Busch like nobody's business. And
okay, can I ask you guys something? Did you happen to watch the Rick Hendrick documentary that Tom Cruise narrated?
I might have.
I forgot the name of it. Yeah.
I think it's like together the Hendrick Motorsports stories and shit like that. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
But I
didn't.
Like I may have watched it once, but I don't remember.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, we'll just go to the Nationwide Children's Hospital 200 in mid-Ohio. I have to be honest, the last 22 laps, I fell asleep because somebody had to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be working 5 to 1 at the job, so I missed that last part of the race, but hey, Buescher won.
Yeah, it didn't make much either. By the time I woke up, it was 25 to go, and or actually no, it was 30 to go or something like that. And I was surprised that none of my Carly Cup drivers in there, which was really good. It didn't make it junior. I was really hoping that we would see something like a national win, and we and I like Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's a cool guy. He's his now at Roush. And he's starting to become he's starting to even run better than Trevor Bayne, which is really sad because Bayne's fun than Buescher has. Buescher's even outrunning his son, who's a cup champion. And I find that really surprising. I thought Buescher was going to come out this year and be good as in trucks, but I kind of right on myself there and got a little optimistic too early. Glad to see Buescher win. Glad to see the 60 back victory win. It's been 2 years since the last time they won the victory lane. What's it? Works last nation win. With a real perspective, watching win in 2012. So it's good to see him come home with the win. I was, as much as I thought Regas was going to reel him in, I'm really glad he didn't, because Buescher deserved that one for all he's been through this year.
Yeah, Buescher fell on the sword for Pukemania at Daytona and missed that race. And considering he missed a race, he's 7th in points, and he would probably, you consider, how many points you get, if he got 22 points or whatever, 22 points total, he'd still be nowhere near, close, was it 70? So he would be 70 points out, so it's basically 2 races. But in the end, of his own teammate, who's been in every race, he has 1 less top 5 and 8 less top 10s. That's the consistency isn't there because he struggled early in the year. But Buescher is a definite. I'm just waiting for David, who's on the page. He said it, I said it as well on another page. I'm just waiting to see how Jack Roush screws him up because he's so talented. There's no way that he's not eventually, with the right nurturing of the sponsorship and everything, that he can't be a star. Brian Scott, I don't like the guy. He probably should have won the race. Alex Tagliani was another no talent, got into him and moved him out of the way. The only reason he still gets jobs is because his wife is a track Because honestly, he sucks cocky driving. He drove the Penske 22. He couldn't win either time he drove it. I mean, seriously, that's one of the best rides in the sport. Anybody who jumps in it wins it, except him. Sam Hornish's luck in the 54 car is something to look into, because that's honestly, I don't understand. Why can't that happen when Kyle drives? When Kyle drives, he never has problems. But when Sam Hornish drives it, something always goes wrong. It's insane, because he probably had a car that was a winning piece on Saturday. At home, one of his probably last opportunities he'll get to run this year, and he's just gotten screwed over so many times, it's ridiculous. Brian Scott and Chris Buescher and Sam Hornish are the three dominant figures in the race. There was different strategies going on. Dakota Armstrong and Brendan Gaughan actually led laps. But, I mean, basically it worked out the way it was going to work out. Dakota Armstrong somehow or other got a top 10, which is a minor miracle. Or no, that was Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne actually led laps. All right. Basically, nothing really changed other than Sam Hornish finished 30th. I mean, Ty Dillon had some problems. He had qualified pretty well, and Brendan Gaughan had some issues too. But otherwise, everybody who was in the top 10 basically stayed there. Kenny Habel he qualifies well, and then something always happens. He had an engine problem. But, Chase Elliott maintained his points lead, stayed right there with Regan. Justin Marks, road racer, finished 6th. He owns a World of Outlaws team with Kyle Larson. Elliott Sadler, I mean, he's nobody. I mean, with the news that came out today, I have a hard time to believe that he's going to be around driving for Gibbs next year. Kwasniewski actually got a top 10 finish.
I think there's a possibility that Daniel Suarez is going to be driving the 20.
Well, yeah, he is going to be driving full time, and more than likely with the same sponsor that Edwards has, and Bubba Wallace is going to come up and run full time and nationwide. But that still means that there's going to be a 54 car, which still means that Kyle Busch is going to run every week. So we won't be spared that. But other than, their Bayne finished 9th, but he's been outperformed basically since May, I think. Probably since May, Chris Buescher has outperformed Trevor Bayne on a weekly basis, which, considering that they're moving Trevor Bayne up to the Cup Series, it's got to be a big pause if Roush actually knew what he was doing or even cared. But other than that, I mean, it's the same old fare, the typical fare that people who finish just outside the top 10, Bliss and Castle and De Benedetto and Sieg. But, typical nationwide fare. I mean, I like road course racing. This race, I was glad to hear that Chris Buescher won. It's great for the sport.
He's a better driver in the 60 car than freaking Travis Pastrana.
Well, Travis Pastrana is one of the best extreme athletes we'll ever see. The fact that he can't drive a stock car doesn't
I've seen him drive a stock car when I was in Dover last year. Sucks.
Well, yeah, he sucks, but the fact is, I won't be able to go and jump a motorcycle like he can or drive a rally car like he can. So the fact that he sucked at one thing, but he's great at other things, I could let it go at the end of the day.
I can tell you a brief story. A couple months ago, I posted a question on the GeeklyIndustry.com page about if NASCAR went bankrupt with Vince Byatt, and Chunky Larry, and I swear to God, this is absolutely true. He's like, I want to see NASCARs go through a ring of fire, and he wanted to see Asians in that sport. So I posted a picture on the page saying, there's an Asian in the sport by the name of Kyle Larson. And he goes, that's not an Asian. I was like, yeah, he's Asian.
He is. He is Asian.
Yeah.
He is Young Money.
Yes. And Adam's favorite driver, Timmy Hill, was like 37th.
Oh, great. I was surprised Timmy Hill even ran that race. I didn't even fucking notice that.
Well, he's starting parked. I mean, what are you talking? What are you talking? What is it? There are 7 starting parks and had a short field. Um, I mean, yeah, Stanton Barrett had his usual problems.
Is he related to Bad News Barrett? I know, I'm kidding. He's not.
I don't even know who Benny Barrett is, but his dad was also a stuntman who also raced back in the 80s. Stan Barrett.
Yeah.
Stanton Barrett. But yeah, Stanton Barrett's a big time stuntman, and his dad was a big time stuntman. I think his Stan Barrett worked in the 70s and 80s with Burt Reynolds in in the Hal Needham movie.
Hal Needham in the Skull Bandit car.
Yeah, the Stroker, and I think he was also in
Stroker Race and Smokey in the Bandit movies. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he drove the Skull Bandit before Harry Gant got in it. Stan Barrett. His claim to fame was wrecking with Rusty Wallace, I think, at the first Phoenix race. That was basically his shining moment in his Cup career. And basically Stanton's career is similar. He drove a 60 car before Carl Edwards, and he got fired by May. He started the season, he got fired by May, and he went back to his day job of being a stuntman. He's not very good in any racing car that he's been in. He's been terrible, but he's a really good stuntman. Gotta give him credit for that. He tries to run these road courses, and he qualifies well, and then racing happens, and it's like, oh yeah, he sucks.
Okay, we're done with that, and we're going to the Camping World, and it's a miracle. No sprint cupper or a Busch dominated. Sauter wins. Woohoo!
Yeah, I was really surprised that when I said that I woke up and I was catching the last 30 laps or so, and Kyle was nowhere to be found. He was in 9th, not even a contender, and I was just like, what kind of bullshit operation is this? Are you yanking my dick right now? Is this some fucking? Am I on some kind of drug right now? Like, what the fuck is this? And I'm really glad that Kyle didn't win, because every time he's been in a truck race he's run, or at least he was. All the starts he made this year in trucks, he's won. So I'm glad that he didn't win. Kyle go fuck himself. I'm glad that no Cup driver or Nationwide driver dominated that race. By Nationwide, I mean Kyle. So
yeah, I mean the thing is, Kyle's never won at Michigan in a truck, and that'll continue for hopefully a very long time. The Brad Keselowski trucks, they had 2 of the fastest pieces in the racetrack. They qualified on the front row. That was one of the dumbest things ever. I missed it on TV, but Ryan Blaney was the only guy who got a lap in the second session, in the final session. Every other driver who made the cut to the final round did not even post a time, so they just based it on the second session times, which is ridiculous. It shows the flaws in the system. Obviously, I don't like single car qualifying and single truck qualifying. I've never really been a fan of it. It gets boring and tedious. But the fact is, they've made it so that it's basically single car qualifying now with this format, which it's not supposed to be. But you know, it's typical NASCAR fucking up something that makes sense. It could make sense. I mean, Blaney had a good truck, and then the nose started falling off, and they had to duct tape that thing back together, and Logano had some problem. He still hasn't won a truck race, which, I mean, I guess is okay, but he would be added to the latest person who's won in all 3 series. Brad has never won a truck race either, which is amazing to me, but yeah, Sauter winning on fuel mileage. Big win for him. He just hired Jeff Hensley as his crew chief this week, so big win for them. Thor Sport 1-2 with Crafton finishing second. Blaney lost a ton of points. Sauter and Crafton jumped over Blaney, and now it's the top 5 is separated by 36 points, with Bubba Wallace, who led the most laps. He got back on because he had a terrible pit stop, or ran out of fuel. Him and Kyle both ran out of fuel. Difference is Kyle was able to recover, Bubba wasn't. Lost probably a definite chance to win. basically it was those five guys were the only ones that actually mattered in the race. I mean, Taylor Mollison had a fast truck at the end. He finished fourth in his limited races. Ron Hornaday, the veteran, the Wiley veteran, all-time leader in wins and trucks, finished third. Quiroga, the battering ram, finished sixth. Peters, seventh. Jeb Burton, eighth. Poulter, ninth. And Joe Nemechek finished 10th. Really nothing of great value happened in the race. It was pretty terrible. Austin Dillon struggled, had some problem as well. I think there was some wreck. I probably missed it somewhere along the line. But yeah, for Brian Blaney, he came in with the points. He had a good truck and left being down 16 points to Johnny Sauter. That battle is going to go down all the way to the end of the season. It should be very interesting because there's probably 5 trucks that can legitimately win the championship this year. So hopefully, I mean, tomorrow obviously is a truck race. We'll see what happens. It's their Wednesday night show at Bristol. Hopefully.
Which, by the way, I will be watching because this week I'm on vacation from work, so yay!
Yeah, pretty good. I got a day off, so at least I get to watch the modifieds and the truck race.
I gotta tomorrow. I have to mail out my sleeping bag and my magazines to the camp.
Huh.
For those that don't know, I am going to a gay and lesbian camp called Camp for a whole week. So there won't be no show because I won't be having access to TV, internet, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll be able to talk about both Bristol and Atlanta, I guess, in one super. We could probably do 2 shows even. Who knows if we have 2 days for either.
Don't you? I think you won't be. Don't you have the school opening on the week of Atlanta?
I mean, whatever. I think I have to see what my work schedule is, but obviously.
Yeah, you gotta deal with those little bastards.
Yeah. Well, they're not little bastards. They're adult bastards.
Is the college like the community, like the show community? With the,
I wish it was. It would make it more. It would be more entertaining, but it definitely isn't.
Aww.
It's a total clusterfuck. But that's a whole other story. You can ask Nate, who's my coworker on the page. We work together. We BS about Cup and how terrible it is all the time.
I'm so glad I never went back to college. I'm so glad I never went to college. So.
Oh yeah, we should give a shout out to Travis Quapple for a guy who's. I mean, minus the fact he's a wife beater and he's a shitty driver. The fact that he has won a championship once, and he took the Zaxby's truck, the John Reck Townley truck,
which,
and
by the way,
actually had it up front.
He's going to be part of Nationwide. That's what I read on the entry list.
Yeah, he'll run this weekend because they're running limited races, but he'll hit the wall. He probably missed the race. But Travis Quapple ran so hard, he blew the engine up in 7 laps. It shows the difference when somebody who actually has a clue is driving the truck and the person who doesn't. I mean, he drove it so hard he blew the engine in 7 times.
He's an idiot anyway. So.
Well, yeah, he's an a-hole, but yeah. I mean, that's what I took.
It's like the funniest thing is when I posted this on the Dana Can't Drive Patrick page, and I said, "Oh, NASCAR support with white beaters. What a that's great." And it did slow clapping, and I got attacked because they're like, "Oh, he's innocent till proven guilty." I'm like, anybody that hits a woman has no respect for me, and that includes Chris Brown and the War Machine.
Ray Rice, yeah, and War Machine.
So, in any event, so I heard something that Darlington's going to get a Labor Day race back.
Thank the good Lord. My goodness.
Yep, they're doing a schedule change next year. They only released a partial statement of what they're going to do next year. So basically, Bristol gets moved back. The first Bristol race gets moved back to April. It's traditional April date, although it's going to be April 19th and not the early April. Atlanta's going to be the second race of the year, and then Darlington's going to be back on Labor Day, which is all good and dandy. But where the fuck is the rest of the schedule? Don't keep the fucking suspense is killing me. Okay. Where's everything else?
Nothing's changing up with that.
I really hope so. I really hope that like they grow the balls and change something like make another race, track the other race, the last race of the year, like make Vegas the last race of the year than fucking Homestead. I'd rather watch that honestly, because Homestead's a shit fest. It's really a boring racetrack, and it has been for quite some time. I might as well change it up and do something, or fuck, make a road course the last race of the year, like they used to do with the Riverside. Just like do that.
Be the first and last race of the year.
Yeah, get Road America or Mid Ohio or something. Just get one of those road courses and make that the last race of the year, because that should be entertaining. It would be more entertaining in Homestead. That's for
well,
sure.
yeah, of course. Or Texas. Texas is one of the shittiest tracks in the whole entire country.
Hey, Rick Perry's now like going to be a convicted felon in like a couple months.
Oh, yeah, that guy's a fucking moron anyway.
Good job, Texas. Good job.
Yeah.
You really gave us you gave us great people here, Texas. Awesome.
One of the biggest pricks in the whole entire motorsports world, Eddie Gossage, who swears that he's the greatest promoter ever, when in fact it was his boss, Humpy Wheeler, that he basically licked his ass, and if it weren't for him, he wouldn't have the position he has, because that track has always sucked in every way, shape, and form, in any form of racing. It's always been terrible. Outside of when they had those derbies, those pack derbies, and when they had the IRL, when basically they were one hit away from going and killing somebody, and they almost did a few times. But that track is horrible. They shouldn't have two dates. I mean, there's a bunch of tracks. I was reading somewhere, they're moving Atlanta back to the second race. It's like, look, at the end of the day, there's somehow or another, with the great logistics of NASCAR, they had them going from Daytona, Florida, to Phoenix, Arizona, back to to Vegas, back to North Carolina, back to Vegas. Then from Vegas they go to like Bristol or some crap. Then they come back again, go back to California. So none of the people that work at NASCAR obviously have a map or know what a map looks like. I know Brian France doesn't know what a map is. He only uses it to wipe up all his stupid shit.
You know, I was on Wikipedia the other day, and apparently Brian France doesn't have a degree. He never graduated from college.
Gee, is that really a surprise for how he's fucking up NASCAR?
No,
the guy's a fucking moron. I mean, I'm surprised he even managed to be the CEO of NASCAR, much less be a fucking hot dog concession stand dude at a fucking racetrack, let alone be the CEO of the biggest fucking motorsport in the goddamn country.
Get rid of him.
Right.
Get rid of him and replace him with Paul Heyman and Bo Dallas.
I'd believe for that bullshit. That'd be crazy.
Phil
The freaking
is in
Tim
love with
Tebow,
Bo
the
Dallas,
Tim Tebow
folks.
of wrestling. He's amazing. Him and his brother. I want Bray Wyatt running NASCAR, because at least the promos would be great, and he'd probably go and take out the whole entire Fox announce crew. That would be a benefit to society.
I have a perfect solution for the Fox newscast. Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, and Joey Styles.
No, there's too many things going on, because Joey Styles, they're all like dominant. They all want to. I think Jim Ross would definitely be better for NASCAR, because it makes sense. Have him and Steve Austin. Have him and Stone Cold call NASCAR races. Of course, he couldn't cuss, so that would probably be a problem. They'd have to drop like half the stuff that Stone Cold is saying. But yeah, this is like turned into a whole like dream wrestling scenario, but for renown. But yeah, the fact that Brian France, I'm surprised he can read.
You're in love with Bo Dallas, I'll tell you that. I think you're in love with Bo Dallas.
No, Bo Dallas, I thought the guy is freaking hilarious. I watched, like, my friend is the one who has he wants to suck his dick, like, literally. Like, me, I just was like, oh my god, this guy's insane. Like, what the hell is his deal? Like, if you watch video with him and Cesaro, when they do that interview, he's got this retarded. He looks like Chris Pontius from Jackass. You know, like he's like a golden retriever or something. Like he just like had a nice piss. Like he had this goofy look on his face. like he just pissed all over the rug and he had this goofy look. Like, it was like, really? Like, this guy is insane. Like, that's what they need. You need to have people like that in the sport. People that'll, kind of twist you a little bit, piss you off, but they actually do a good job,
Yeah,
Bo Dallas, him and his brother are two of the best wrestlers in the company, so that means they're not going to go anywhere because they don't know how to book.
Yeah, yeah, but anyway, Brian Francis is a dick, so we'll just
Yeah.
leave it at that.
And the fact that the Southern 500, I mean, it's Brian Francis' fault it got moved off of Labor Day weekend. It took them 11 years to fix the wrong. I'm glad that they moved it back to Labor Day because it was either they're moving back to Labor Day or it was being removed. In terms of Atlanta, as I was like, Atlanta being moved to the second race of the season is fine by me because it's one of the best tracks on the schedule. It's one of the only tracks that actually promotes good racing. The fact that they're going there early is easier on the teams. It'll be better in terms of logistics. And the Bristol is whatever. You run it in April, you run it at the end of March, you run it the middle of April. There's going to be rain no matter what. It doesn't really fucking matter
And Burton
when
Smith
you run
sucks.
Bristol.
Burton Smith sucks.
Yeah, I mean, both him and Brian France suck because they're the ones who own most of the tracks. So, I mean, Bruton, he's Boss Hog, literally looks like Boss Hog. He's an arrogant prick, too. He's like Rick Hendrick in a lot of ways, and he basically tried to do separate form of NASCAR, stock car racing, and failed multiple times. And he's trying to push to get his tracks getting in better dates. The only dates they get for his tracks in the chase are New Hampshire, which, I mean, New Hampshire's a difficult track, but it's not a chase track. Texas, which is one of the worst tracks on the schedule, and Charlotte, which they screwed up when when Humpy Wheeler, that's probably what got him fired, is when they ground the track like Indy, and they completely screwed it up. Ever since then, Charlotte's been a horrible racetrack. And that's when Jimmy Johnson started winning, too, conveniently. So it all works out, or all works one way or the other.
All right. The big news of the week is Carl Edwards is joining Joe Gibbs Racing, and all I gotta say is, duh!
Yeah, it's like we didn't know this before. This is basically prolonging the inevitable for the past 2 months now, and some people were like, oh, Carl's not leaving. Are you fucking serious? Did you not watch the pre-race at Indy? Jack Rock said Edwards is not coming back to Roush in 2015. Are you fucking retarded? Like, I'm an admin on this page called NASCAR Through the Years. It's basically a retro NASCAR page where we post NASCAR pictures and shit from like 50s, 40s to now, whatever. And I posted a picture of Carl Edwards, like I said, since before the announcement that Edwards is going to Gibbs, here's his first ride in 05. And one of the comments was like, he ain't leaving. And I'm like, yes he is. Are you fucking stupid? Like, this is the thing that I really can't stand about a lot of NASCAR fans. We're NASCAR fans. But the thing I can really stand is a lot of people who don't pay fucking attention to what's going on. Like, if you're not, if you don't watch it as much and you have, like, I don't know, a job or something like that where you can't get any updates, that's fine. But if you're watching NASCAR wholeheartedly, but you don't really pay attention to probably the biggest news this year that Carl Edwards is not going back to Roush Fenway in 2015, and you're like, he ain't leaving, then what the fuck are you even doing? Like, even a lot of dumbasses out there who are like Johnson fans even know that. And there's, or Junior fans. I really hope I'm probably going to offend a lot of Junior fans on our page, but I really don't fucking care.
Yeah, this is very equal opportunity offender. We don't care what anybody feels.
Yeah, and the fact that, I love Dale Jr., but good God, his fucking fan base really kind of makes me cringe. Same with Johnson and Kyle fans, because they're so hooked on the idea that their driver is such a good driver that nothing can beat him. Like there's some people I'm friends with that post pictures like Dale Jr., the 2014 champ. And I'm like, yeah, the 2014 top 5 or top 10 champ. Give me a break. And Johnson fans, I think we've already established in pretty much every episode that I've been on here that Johnson fans are fucking stupid. Enough said. That's all. I mean, I have some friends that are Johnson fans that really don't care that I hate Johnson, which is cool because I don't care that they like Johnson. And they put up with me in my Johnson rants every day that I come up with them. But the fans that are just they're just mindless sheep. Just who just bandwagoners. A lot of these bandwagon Johnson fans usually have been a part of his fan base for like not even a couple years. So which championship did you get on the bandwagon of? Was it his 5th? Was it his 6th? Was it 2012? When did you exactly start becoming a Johnson fan? And I don't know if I've went over this before, but there was this one bitch that I was friends with like 2 years ago on Facebook and Twitter. Her name was Lita, Lita, like Lita Ford. And this bitch, she was cool. She was cool at first, but what really pissed me off was that not the fact that she was a Johnson fan. I can let that go, even though that it's kind of hard to be friends with a Johnson fan. The thing that really pissed me off about her was during when Brad and Johnson went for the championship 2 years ago, this bitch had the balls to say, "Fuck Brad K, he's a cheater." What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? Brad the cheater. But let me guess. You don't think Jimmy cheats? You fucking suck my dick. Like, oh my god. I was reading a lot of these tweets that she was posting, and some of them were like, "Fuck Brad K, Johnson's better, Jimmy's a cheat. Jimmy's not a cheater, Brad is." And I'm like, "Oh, are you retarded? Were you like dropped on your head when you were a kid or something? Like, good fucking god, get a fucking brain, or open your eyes and realize that the guy you're following is a fucking douchebag." Like, seriously.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, Phil.
yeah, I mean, on the Edwards thing, this has basically been going on for about a year that he was bailing. Ford tried to do everything in their power because they sold out, I don't know how many years ago, trying to keep him and basically make him the face. And then they realized when Penske decided to come there that Brad is the best driver Ford has right now, because frankly he is. He actually gets results. He expects to win, and people don't like him. He's a unlike Carl Edwards, who's against social media. Brad Keselowski is fully into it and engages fans, engages people who don't like him, and he doesn't give a crap. And that's the whole thing. Like, he's driven. The guy's a Cup champion, but he still drives the same way as when he came in to the sport. Like, he has to prove himself. And it pisses people off, and that's fine. That's why he's one of my 3 drivers, because the guy just drives like he doesn't give a crap about anybody else's. I mean, not that safety, but it's like he doesn't give a crap about how anybody else thinks, and I love that. And when they realize that, oh yeah, Brad is their lead dog, and Joey Logano's not bad either. Wiley's a douche, but the fact is he's been getting results. I mean, they have those 2 guys, and they're like, oh yeah, Carl Edwards can be left. Oh, who the fuck cares? And him going to Gibbs, people talked about how Stuart Haas was going to be combustible. When you have all those whack jobs in one place, you have Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Edwards. And I mean, Matt Kenseth is liable to have some sort of malfunction, even though he has a personality. When, generally speaking, outside of when he does pressers, I mean, he actually has a decent personality. But generally speaking, he has a personality of a plastic bag. So the whole thing is, that's going to be more combustible than SHR. Mainly because the fact is, Kevin Harvick said that one of the best cars every week. Kurt Busch has sucked, but he has a brand new team. We all understand about Smoke's whole situation. I'm hoping he comes back here soon, or else
I say
I wonder.
Richmond.
No, he can't come back at Richmond. They want the chase to be the main story. They don't want him to come back at Richmond. If he'll come back at Atlanta, I would write this down. He's either coming back at Atlanta or New Hampshire, or whatever the second race of the chase. I think it is New Hampshire. Atlanta or New Hampshire will be his first race back. Otherwise, he's not coming back at Richmond. He won't come back at Chicago. He can't. because it would take the attention off of what NASCAR's big thing is their stupid playoff that nobody watches because everyone watches football, including me, because I have more invested in football than the chase, unless my drivers are in it.
Who's your team?
I'm a Niner fan.
Oh, I'm a Packers.
Yeah, we're rivals, but yeah, two of the best. So at least you're not a Seahawks fan, so it's fine.
Finally, NASCAR has a new rule saying you can't leave your car anymore.
Yeah, that was a big news I read the other day, and I'm just like, so what the fuck does this really mean? And it really got put to the test when Larson hit the wall and was on fire. I'm like, please do not tell me that NASCAR expects Larson to fucking sit in there while the car's on fire. If they do, they're fucking beyond retarded. We went over this whole Kevin Ward situation. My opinion stands that although that this was a tragic incident, what happened between him and Stewart, but the fact of the matter is, the kid should know racing in sprint cars for that long that something like this can happen. He got out of his car, looked for Stewart, was playing in traffic, got hit, and then everyone's like, oh well, it's Tony Stewart's fault. What? No. Kevin Ward was being a dumbass. He could have just stayed in the car, could have gone to pit road, got his car fixed, and maybe finished inside the top 10, and then finished with Stewart later, like in the garage or something, got into a fight or something. That would have been preferable. But the fact that he got out of his car and was basically looking for Stewart and basically, hey, hit me, come on. And Stewart didn't see him. And I guess that this has been coming for a long time, the whole rule thing, because there was always some thought in the back of my mind that I thought, what if one day that if a driver gets out of his car, that one day he might get hit, or that this rule won't be around anymore, that the guys can't get out of the cars and we'll have to wait until the emergency guys pick them up. So I personally, I think this rule is pretty fucking stupid, but I guess they're trying to be safe considering the whole Ward Stewart thing, and they're trying to make sure that nobody else gets killed, which really there hasn't been hardly ever any percentage of that happening. I've never really seen any races in the past where a driver has basically got in traffic and was looking for someone to hit him, as Ward did to Stewart, but that's what I think. I think this rule is fucking stupid, and I really don't know how long it's going to last before NASCAR's like, yeah, this rule sucks. We kind of made a bad idea implementing it.
I mean, basically what they're doing, they're taking away half the entertainment that takes place at the Bristol night race, because all the people that get pissed off by getting wrecked by somebody won't be able to get out of their car and go and make gestures and throw helmets, and like Dale Jarrett did 20 years ago, Tony did at Matt Kenseth. I mean, the whole thing, I'll stick by this, and it was said by 25 Cent on Bubba the Love Sponges show. You don't play Frogger with a sprint car and think you're going to win. And it's a tragedy. But at the end of the day, if he was so pissed off after, wrecking this week, after he had wrecked how many other weeks, then it's simple. You wait in your car as long as there's no fire. There's exceptions. The exception is if there's fire or there's something severe and you have to bail, you bail. That's in their stupid rule that probably took them hours and multiple rewrites to write, because
we should go and demand to see the rule book.
Because what is it? Robin Pemberton, who's a fucking retard. I mean, he sounds like a retard. No, okay, all right. That's too strong.
Right. You can use our word. There's exceptions to the rules. Remember.
Yeah. Okay. So he's a very okay. All right. I'll bring it back. He's a very special person. You have to be a very special person to be that dumb and have that much power. I understand why Mark Martin never won with him as a group, or never won a championship with him as a groupie, because he's a quote unquote genius, because he can't read. I mean, honest to God, the guy was reading that announcement like it was like the biggest thing that's ever taken place in NASCAR history. It's called common sense, asshole. I mean, if you go and stay with a car, that's just common sense. It's not a rule that anyone needed to know. if you don't know that and you've been racing for as long as most of these guys have been racing, then you're asking for it. I mean, plain and simple. The Kevin Ward thing is a totally separate thing. But if you're going to go and jump out of your race car and you're going to be a hothead, then, understand the consequences. You go into the garage and go and beat somebody up. NASCAR, the funny part is they don't want them to fight, but they want them to fight. So they don't know what they want, which is they're hypocrites. Everything about NASCAR is a hypocrisy. And so this is just the latest example of it. No Neck and Johnson having their bitch fight in the infield, in the garage, and then Junebug and Hamlin having their bitch fight. Like, what the hell? Just have somebody punch somebody out. That's how they solved things in the 70s. That's how they solved things in the 80s. Well, Earnhardt just put Darrell in the wall and basically ended his career. That was pretty cool.
That was bad. Thank you, Senior. Thank you.
Yeah, that he did a favor for everybody, and he used to rattle everyone's cage. The only one he couldn't rattle was, he sort of kind of did to Rusty and sort of kind of did to Bill. That's why they only won one championship each. The only one that never really was...
That's the good thing about TMZN. You don't have to hear the freaking Darrell.
Well, yeah, he's a cocksucker. Him and his brother, who really should choke on one. He's one of the worst people alive. But that would be a whole other show. If we just had a show based on how to rant and rave about Fox's everything,
that would be the Daytona episode.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. We got questions. That's everybody's favorite segment. Why is Junior so popular? Jeez, I don't know.
Gee, that's so fucking obvious. I was just, this has been my opinion ever since I got into NASCAR. Most of the Junior fans only root for Junior because his dad was Dale Sr. That's basically 85% of the reason why he's so popular is because of his last name, Earnhardt. And although he is an Earnhardt, he is no Dale Sr., nor will he ever be Dale Sr. And there's a lot of Junior fans that are so optimistic that he will be Dale Sr. one day, that, he'll rattle his cage like his dad did. No, he won't. He's been racing in Cup for 14 years. You really think he's going to rattle someone's cage now? He's going to be 40 this year, for fuck's sake. You really think that would have taken him 14 years to rattle someone's cage like his dad did? Give me a break.
If he wasn't an Earnhardt, he would not have a ride. He would suck.
Yeah, he wouldn't be with Hendrick. He wouldn't even be at Roush. Fuck, he wouldn't even be considered at a ride at Richard Childress Racing.
He'd be driving a furniture row car.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. You'd be lucky if he even got a part-time stint in a fucking furniture row car. The Junior, I like Junior. I don't have a problem with his personality or his driving style, but the problem I do have is with his fans. Same with Johnson fans, and with Danica fans, and with Kyle fans, that they're just so hung up on this idea of how great that they really are when they really aren't. Johnson, exception. Johnson is no exception to that. He just because he's won 6 championships doesn't mean he's a fucking douche and that he's overrated and that he is not the best driver in NASCAR. Same goes for Danica Patrick. She's not an inspiration to female racers. And she basically flashed her tits to Junior and Stewart, and they're like, okay, she's in. That's basically how she got into NASCAR.
Hey, Milk and Donuts is going to be racing this weekend.
Oh, God.
We're so fucking thrilled for that. I guarantee you it's going to be like Danica all over again.
3 cautions.
It's going to be like 5 cautions. What? Guaranteed. First caution is going to be her. Second caution is going to be her getting involved with some other driver. Third caution, she's going to wreck herself. Or fourth caution, she'll wreck herself again. I can just see it now.
I hope she wrecks Kyle Busch. That'd be. No offense to. Okay, I don't want anyone to get hurt. All right, I don't want to be named, but seriously, just wreck Kyle Busch. Then I would have no problem with Milk and Donuts being out there, because she'd be doing a service to the race actually. And then just the look, that freaking mosquito face that he has comes out. Oh, some chick, whatever, had no business. I want to hear what he would say about her. because he'll make some sort of irresponsible, probably racist comment about her.
Now, I have a question for you guys. Let's say I became a driver. Would you support me?
Oh, well, yeah, that's no question. I mean, you would probably have more talent than any of them, Milka or fucking Danica.
Even I don't have a driver's license, I would have more talent than
Probably, and you would probably finish better than them too, because at least you probably know what you're doing. And you would probably admit you would have the decency to admit if things got so bad, hey, I suck. You would have the decency to admit that. But Danica, she'll never admit, hey, I suck. She'll always be focused on this thing that she has in her head that she's somewhat of a good driver. The fact that she finishes inside the top 15 any time is a fucking miracle. The fact that she finished seventh at Kansas back in May, that was a fucking miracle. The fact that she last Talladega, that was not really a miracle because, let's face it, the only time she's ever considered to be a contender is at restricted play tracks, and most of the time she's only considered a contender if like half the field fucking wrecks. So yeah.
I mean the thing with Earnhardt is 85% of his fans are senior fans anyway. I would only believe at best 15% of his fan base are people that were with him, from the beginning, driving the 3 AC Delco car. I mean, and the funny part is his sister was the best of the bunch of those 3 driving the late model. His sister was the best driver, but his dad told her to go and to get a degree so she can run the business, because he trusted her to run the business before Teresa went and decided, screw you all. But that's a whole other story. She was the best.
Whatever happened to Teresa? Did she, jump off a cliff?
Well, I don't know if it's that severe. She basically sold off her stake to Chip Ganassi and said, sign R to NASCAR for, other than the engine company, I think they still have that going, but otherwise, because, what is it, Lois Wanke, who's, her husband is a crew chief who won the truck championship with Ted Musgrave, Debbie Musgrave, more plugs, but for people that are good people in the sport, but Lois Wanke's son works for ECR Engine, so that's the only connection that Teresa has to the sport anymore, because Chip Ganassi owns the team fully now with Sabatis. But Earnhardt doesn't have that many fans on his own merit. Most of them are because of his dad, and then it is what it is. You know what you're getting with Earnhardt. I mean, this year is an anomaly. He's going to go back next year and be like a one-win driver at best. And they're going to blame Greg Ives and say, oh, why aren't you winning all these races like Steve Letarte? I would be able to win races if I was going and taking the kind of risks that Steve Letarte is taking, because he doesn't give a crap. He's going into the broadcast booth next year. What does it matter? Hell with Junebug. He's going to choke it and probably miss the second cut in the chase anyway.
Okay, why has Gordon gotten JJ's lucky horseshoe? That's a good question. Because I think Gordon has more talent.
Well, that, and the fact that he earned his 4 championships the right way and didn't cheat to get all of his championships and all of his wins. I'm not saying this because I'm a Gordon fan. I'm saying this as a NASCAR fanatic in general. Jeff Gordon is and always will be better than Jimmy Johnson. That's without saying. That is without saying or no argument whatsoever.
No
I just believe that, not because I'm a Gordon fan, but because that Gordon's been around in NASCAR and Cup for 21 years. He's won 91 races. He's won 4 championships. The fact that so many of these new NASCAR fans are not even looking at Jeff Gordon and looking, oh my God, Jimmy Johnson's won 6 championships. He's the best driver of all time. Not even getting into that. But I honestly believe that Gordon will. He'll have a shot to win the championship this year. I highly doubt that he'll be run like shit. He'll run harder. We just like not and I don't know. I really can't believe that it was a lone shoot. I just think if it like that month's the Yankees win 4 races and be long period first 3 years after him is after he finished second. Wasn't talked much about it because the boss was on this and when the real character he for is the old Dr. Johnson, but it's a lucky where she did or not. And when before it retires, it'll just be the end of it. NASCAR won't be made because Johnson will. Johnson won't have any competition from his teammates. He'll just fucking wreck his teammates like he always does.
I mean, the whole thing with his golden horseshoe started by Kevin Harvick, and he still has it. At the end of the day, him and Chad wouldn't have anything to do if that golden horseshoe wasn't shoved in either one of their asses. The whole logic that Jeff Gordon has, I mean, that's a joking question, obviously. Look, in the end, it's a case that Jeff Gordon hasn't been able to close the deal in a long time. He got screwed out of it twice, honest to God, in 2004, 2007. That's been qualified already. But Gordon's doing something different this year. There's something different about him this year. I think it's honestly the kids and knowing that he wants to show his kids that, hey, I'm one of the greatest race car drivers ever. And he is. He's one of the greatest drivers I'll ever see in my lifetime. For people who got to grow up in the 50s and 60s, they got to see Foyt and Andretti and Parnelli Jones and the Unzers and people like that, and Richard Petty and David Pearson and Bobby Allison. We don't have as many of those people. Yeah, Earnhardt was there, but we lost him too soon. But Gordon, from the moment I started watching NASCAR is when he was a rookie. So I've watched his entire career. The guy is one of the greatest drivers I'll ever see in my life. And based on statistics, he's no worse than top 5 of all time. And just in general, he's no worse than top 5 all time. If Hendrick is going to win a championship, which I hate Hendrick Motorsports with passion, because they're the chosen team, they drive the chosen manufacturer, they're the chosen team. The only way to be good for the sport that a Hendrick Motorsports driver wins is if Jeff Gordon wins. Yeah, there's going to be a segment of the population, obviously, that believes otherwise if a certain 88 wins, which would look like a fix as much as it is for the 48. But if Jeff Gordon wins a championship with such a big gap, I mean, he'd be beating Terry Labonte's record he'd be beating Terry Labonte's record for the longest separation between championships if he were to pull it off. And he's never been able to put it together in the chase. He's always had something go wrong. So the golden horseshoe, whatever, it's August. Show it in November at Homestead. Go and win at Homestead and be in the Final Four, and then it won't matter.
You know what I just realized? If Candy Cane gets fired from Hendrick, there's always going to be porn, but not straight porn.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's another career choice if they can't find a ride after 2015. So, JJ, the guy from Direct, I don't know what he's talking about, so we'll skip that. What is Ryan Newman's problem?
He has no neck.
Yes.
He can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
He has a personality of a freaking potato chip bag. I mean, and he has this hard-on that everybody races him hard or he races everybody hard. I mean, the whole thing with that whole deal, he doesn't get to run up front all that often, so when he gets there, he runs it like he stole it, and I mean, he sucks. He's always been... like I said earlier, he's only had one win on merit in the last decade. I think there was one New Hampshire race where he finished first and Tony finished second. And the fact is, the only time he wins is when he has the best car. If he doesn't have the best car or some miracle doesn't happen, he usually does what he usually does, which is finishing from like 8th to 17th, which is where he finishes every week, usually.
Okay, you should take a poll on why people like Junior. I bet the majority is because of his dad and not driving ability. Yeah, we talked about that before. So, should Danica get breast implants? Please, God, no.
Oh God. Giving bigger tits is going to make her more talented in NASCAR. I mean, the fact is that, like I was telling Phil earlier before the show, we got on the subject of the female driver thing. I hate how a lot of the people say that Danica is so inspirational, a female driver. She isn't. She fucking sucks. IndyCar, NASCAR, ARCA, she fucking blows. The only reason she's in NASCAR at this moment is because of her sex appeal and because of her name, not because of her talent. Look at her IndyCar stats: 1 win in 4 seasons and hardly any top 5 or top 10.
More than 4 seasons, actually.
Her ass handed to her week in and week out at beat by guys like Elio Castroneves and Dario Franchitti and the late Dan Weldon. All these other guys have beat her ass up and down the track in IndyCar, and she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll go somewhere where I might be better, and she's doing worse than she's ever done in her motorsports career, and has gained more haters than fans in NASCAR. And it's funny because a lot of her fans are either old men trying to get a hard on, women who aren't really that good looking, or kids who are just coming into puberty and oh my god, Danica!
Well, we should leave the kids. The kids don't know anything, so we gotta give them a pass.
I feel sorry for the kids though, because they maybe grow up one day and think, what the fuck? I used to be a Danica fan? Oh my god!
If I ever have a daughter, she's not gonna look up to Danica. I'm thinking about that.
If I have kids, I'm going to make sure that they're not, if they're going to follow NASCAR, that they're not fans of Johnson or Kyle or Danica or fucking anyone that I can't stand. That's for sure.
Yeah, with Fucomania, she got tits. If and when she gets to do porn, because that's what she'll end up having to do once GoDaddy leaves anyway. It's like the lipstick on a pig comment. Like, that's basically what that is. Maybe Richard would like it, but I don't think anybody else would. The fact is, you want to talk about somebody who is an inspiration to women race car drivers. Sarah Fisher's an inspiration to women race car drivers. She came from sprint cars, midgets, Silver Crowns like Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, and got her way to IndyCar. Yeah, she had a sponsor, but in the end, she ran relatively well. She owns a team now. She's one of the from like major players in the sport, and she earned it from the bottom up. She's an inspiration. Mike Wallace's daughter, Chrissy Wallace, is an inspiration. She actually can drive. She wins track championships, and she got hate in the process trying to do it. Johanna Long won the Snowball Derby. I don't remember. She dumped Reagan to do it too, which is pretty cool. But the fact is, Johanna Long deserves our respect. There's so many women that actually can drive that'll never get the shot because of typical bullshit. Like, they'll give sponsors, like Venezuela will sponsor Milk and Donuts. GoDaddy doesn't know what they're doing, so they'll sponsor her. It's kind of the same old, BS. Like, they won't sponsor talent, they'll just sponsor mediocrity. But then it's NASCAR, so why wouldn't it work out that way anyway?
Okay, will Danica ever improve to an average of 29 places instead of 30th? Yeah, right, okay.
Probably not. That'll be a cold day in hell if that'll ever happen. The fact is, Danica, like I said before, the only reason Danica gets lucky and finishes above 20th is if she wrecks the entire field, which she kind of did at Michigan. Look at the drivers she took out. Martin Truex Jr., Justin Allgaier, Trevor Bayne, the list goes on and on. She fucked up pretty much everyone's day, and she managed to finish. And it's like, it wasn't my fault. Yeah, it was, you dumb bitch. You can't fucking drive for shit. Get the fuck off the track. How in the living fuck is she still in Sprint Cup? Besides her name and her sex appeal, that I get, that's the only reason she's in that.
Because she's sleeping with Tony on the side.
Yeah, that I figured out.
If she was sleeping with Tony on the side, then he'd probably be a lot happier. You wouldn't be going to freaking sprint car track. If she was sleeping with, she's definitely banging Ricky and took all the talent out of him. Whatever she's doing, when she made a guy who was a 2-time nationwide champion into a furniture mover real quick. Probably probing him with a dildo anyway. That's probably what it has to be. But
he's probably one of those guys that can't get a hard on, and it's just like, hey, I'll just watch and I'll let you watch you pleasure yourself. That's probably what he does. Or he probably gets off on the fact that he can't even do can't even pleasure her the way she wants it. So probably get some other guy to bang her, and then he just watches it, just like, yeah, my sex life is shit.
Kink.com. Yeah. Okay.
Or Pornhub.
Yeah. Will Philip Mathew be more popular than Junior during the chase? Well, we do need an Eastern Asian in the sport.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Phil be more popular than Junior, because at least Phil has the smarts and knows what he's doing when it comes to the expertise he's in, and you know he says what's up. But with Junior, he's just a puppet, basically, a NASCAR puppet. He doesn't even look like, besides the times he wins, he doesn't even look like he's happy a lot of the time. And the other reason he's so popular is because of his last name and the fact that his gym was a 7-time Cup champion and a 6-time Cup Series winner. So I'd rather see. They'll probably do a better job in the '88 than Junior that year.
But he won't work for Hendrick.
Oh hell no.
Well, if that fat felon's going to cut me a check to drive that car, I'll do it in a second. You kidding me? If I know that I have a guaranteed winning race car every single week, and I know I'm in the back pocket in NASCAR, you're telling me I can win a championship? I mean, I have to go for it. I mean, I hate the fucking guy.
And Adam can be your jackman.
Whatever.
Crew chief or a spotter, and be like,
yeah,
hey,
Adam's a spotter, you're the crew chief, whichever one you want to do is fine. I can go for it. Let's go.
Now, you're Indian or Malaysian?
Indian.
Okay, thank you. Because I just looked at your LinkedIn profile and you speak like Malaysian and English.
Well, no, Malayalam is, but that's a whole other story.
Oh,
but that's the native, the language for our part. But yeah, definitely. I mean, whatever. It's my buddy Nate who posted that anyway. So there's obvious. He's joking around as usual. Obviously, thanks for Adam for that. I mean, definitely. If you're gonna tell me I get to drive a Hendrick Motorsports car, I hate the fucking guy, but I'll take the job. Are you kidding me? Anybody who's crazy that wouldn't take it. I know Chase Elliott's gonna get into that car and he's gonna start winning races real quick. Jeff Gordon came back out of nowhere and does it. So. I mean, even Junebug wins races, which is a minor miracle. So I can't really turn it down. I wish I was more popular than Junebug. Then I'd have more than 500-something followers on friggin' Twitter. I'd have 10 million.
I follow you. I think Adam follows you.
Yeah, that's good. We follow each other, but then at the end of the day, we need to get other people. We need to get the word out about the show.
We're trying our best.
It's slow, but slowly but surely.
Yeah, we got geeks. We got Chunky Larry and his crew backing us up, and they gave us good word.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which, by the way, I talked to him for the first time.
Wow.
I was on Eddick. I did a guest spot on NXT Cast, and he was on it. So we talked for a little bit. So it was cool. He's a cool guy. So props to for Chunky Larry for believing in us and helping us out and spreading the good word. So
definitely.
All right. Will Chris Buescher be the latest victim of the Roush racing curse?
Yes.
Possibility, yes.
Unfortunately, with how that works, it probably will be. I mean, the fact that Jack Roush knew talent when he first got into NASCAR. Look at the drivers he had when he first got into it. When I say first got into it, I mean like 1988 through 2006. Look at the drivers he's had: Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, and Greg Biffle, and Jamie McMurray. Although he really didn't do much driving in 26, he did get 2 wins in the 26, but that's up for discussion. The fact nowadays is that he's picking drivers who can't drive for shit in his cars, like we were talking earlier about Travis Pastrana. Don't get me wrong, Travis Pastrana is a kick-ass guy. I like him. When he was in NASCAR, I followed him. I thought, okay, he wasn't the best driver, I'll admit, but I followed him and I thought maybe he could do better, but he did. But that's up for discussion. And now he's got Chris Buescher, who I didn't even fucking know about until I read that he was James Buescher's cousin, and he was the ARCA title, I think, in 2012. And now he has Ryan Reed, who I think is a good guy because of what he's racing with. with diabetes, and he's sponsored by the diabetes thing, and I find that very cool, and I think he's a cool guy. He may be in Cup one day, but that's up for discussion. Trevor Bayne. Trevor really hasn't really put on much of a show in the last couple of years, I guess, because of that illness he had a few years ago, and then the getting diagnosed with multiple sclerosis really isn't doing good for his racing abilities. So I really don't see how much longer Trevor Bayne can be in NASCAR before his illness takes hold of him. I give it 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 max, before he's out of Cup for good. Maybe we'll see like Chris Buescher be in the 6 or something like that. But I really hope that Chris Buescher can get to the Cup Series like his predecessors did and do good and not pull out a shit like Rick Biffle. But maybe that's just how it usually works. The talented drivers usually get the shit end of the stick, and the non-talented drivers, or the drivers who did have talent but can't do shit now, are still in their lives.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I don't know, you listed a lot of names there. I don't know if Kurt came up in that, because Kurt and Kyle.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Kurt ran for him.
Kurt and Kyle were both drivers for Roush. I give Ted Musgrave, who was a great short track racer in the Midwest. He ended up winning the truck title for Jim Smith, but he drove for Roush. He replaced the great Wally Dallenbach, wink wink, in the Family Channel Ford. Kevin LePage was a solid driver before he decided to drive out in the middle of traffic that one time at Talladega, like a joke that was. He had a bunch of good drivers, but basically Roush Racing is going the same way as Robert Yates did. He got behind in technology. He always had issues. They didn't want to spend enough money on making the team and the cars better. Now you have Carl Edwards leaving, who was the one guy that could actually bring money to the team. Ricky Stenhouse isn't bringing any sponsors to the team. Trevor Bayne has Advocare for as long as he's going to be there. But who knows how long that'll be, obviously, with his illness. Buescher's having problems finding sponsors, and that's the main reason why it took him till this year, because he won his ARCA title with Rouleau Brothers as a part of the Roush help and all that in 12. He should have been in a truck last year. He didn't do anything, basically. He ran limited races, if anything, and then this year he missed the first race of the year, and he's running really well. And I think he'll be a championship contender if they give him the support. Because Trevor Bayne's going to be gone, obviously they need to have a new lead dog, and he's going to be the guy. Whether that means he's going to be driving a Cup car in the near future is beyond me. Hopefully he is, because he's got the talent. He'd probably be somebody that could actually bring some energy to a team that's basically dying a cruel and horrible death. At the end of the day, there's no lead dog at Roush Racing anywhere. Biffle's not, he's just there, riding out the string. Stenhouse, whether it's because of his girlfriend or whether something just went wrong with him, he went from being a solid talent to basically being like a one bad year away from basically driving for Tony in a Silver Crown car again, because that's basically what his career is going to be. He's going to go right back to Silver Crown racing. He's never going to be heard from in terms of NASCAR again. Not because he's a bad driver, but because it's just like he's going to wash out. And Trevor, who knows? I hope, because he's a really good guy and for what he's going through, that it works out for him, but I just have a bad feeling about it. I have a feeling that Mark Martin's going to end up driving a car by some point next year, because he can't give it up. He unretires and retires like freaking Brett Favre.
Yes, we Packer fans are embarrassed by Favre. So, how many competitive trucks will be around by the end of the season?
Competitive trucks
yeah. Like 2. Because it's going
Less
to be
than
Brad
10.
Keselowski racing and Kyle Busch racing. So
Thor Sport, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch's team. So that makes it, what is that? That's 3, 5, 7 trucks.
Isn't Timothy Peters married to the owner's daughter? Just like Mike Dillon is to Richard Childress?
No, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. That's something I've never heard that before, so I'm not. I guess I'd have to look that up. I didn't know that. I know that he got found by Bobby Hamilton, and that's what got his truck career going, the late Bobby Hamilton. That's what got him. He was a late model driver in the Virginia area, so I don't know about he's married to Tom DeLoach's daughter. But.
Will Cousin Carl finally come out of the closet? It would be a good Jerry Springer episode, that's for sure.
I'm waiting for the positive PED test. I'm waiting for that to happen. I figure the performance-enhancing drug test is going to come out here soon enough.
Yeah, it'd be like, I'm cheating on my wife with John Cena. I'm like, oh no, please don't do that.
Oh God.
Yeah, that yesterday, the opening, which is horrible. I wanted to kill myself.
I read about it. That's all I needed to know.
All right, who's the next nationwide regular to win that is winless this year?
Probably Brian Scott.
I gotta say Bane.
Yeah, I'm going with Phil, and I'm saying Brian Scott too. I mean, Trevor Bane, how he managed to get the pole at Iowa a few weeks back was beyond me. I was really surprised. I honestly think that of all the nationwide regulars who haven't won yet, I say Brian Scott's going to be the first one because look at how he compares between himself and Trevor Bane. He's been doing better than Bane the whole entire year. The fact that Brian Scott has no wins yet this year is really surprising to me. The fact that Trevor Bane's even considered for a pole or a win or a top 5 is really surprising because of how shitty he's been doing this year. But I honestly think that the next national regular to win, I'm saying Brian Scott.
Okay, who's the most likely winless driver to get one at Bristol? I'm going to say Larson. I want Larson to win.
I want Larson to.
Yeah, Larson is definitely the pick because that's one of his best tracks in general. But I'm trying to see if I'm trying to think. I would go out on a limb. I mean, I'll talk about Kangaroo Meat, Marcus Ambrose, because he's ran top 5, top 10 a bunch of times at Bristol. He drove well in the 47 car when he drove for Brad Doherty and crap. He ran well there a couple times, and ever since he's driven the 9 car, he's been pretty solid there. So,
now,
yeah, he did win at Watkins.
Did Brad Doherty nonstop talk about how his driver won the whole race today, Sunday?
I swore he would, but I think they just had the segment with AJ in the pit studio, and that was about it. But you knew he wanted to talk about it because that's like the greatest thing that's ever happened in his life.
And he wasn't that great of a basketball player either, so.
Well, he had bad knees.
Yeah.
That was why he was not a good guy, a pro basketball player. He's a good college player, but whatever. It is what it is. He's a shitty owner and an even worse announcer.
Okay, how many ways can one explain why number 10 sucks? How many excuses can Fox and TMZN use and examples? Well, they can, but then again, NASCAR controls their asses, and it'd probably be fined $1 billion.
Yeah, that's true.
See, if we were owned by NASCAR media, we too would be fined $1 billion.
Well, yeah, we'd be fined for everything we say, so we'd be broke. That's the whole problem because they freaking are such hypocrites.
We can open a GoFundMe account and have them pay for fun like that.
Yeah, we should go Kickstarter.
We'll do a Kickstarter, like guys. We're probably do a Kickstarter to fund our trip to like Daytona or Homestead and have a live podcast there. But
yeah, that would be insane. We'd be there with all the butt lickers like Dave Moody and stuff, and then we'd be sitting there. That'd be pretty fun.
Yes. All right. I like this question. Why is Jeff Gordon so amazing? And this is shout out to Stan Medina, Pro Wrestling Nation. He's part of the GeeksInIndustry.com shows, and he definitely sounds like Mordecai from the regular show. So,
why is he amazing?
Because he's a legend.
Because he just is. Because he's Jeff Gordon. That's why.
Gordon.
That's the only I mean, honestly, I mean, if you want any other explanation, he's Jeff Gordon. Other
He's
than
the
that,
true
I mean,
NASCAR
just look
god.
at his stats. That's if you want any other explanation, the guy's one of the greatest race car drivers in the last 25 years. That him and Tony are two of the greatest race car drivers we'll ever see. So we're just lucky that we got to see him in our time. Doesn't happen very often.
How long before Adam Crockett goes off of 6 time? Every time when Johnson we mention his name, Adam will probably spend 30 minutes to an hour on how much he hates fucktard.
I know.
Minutes.
Like a lot of people get kind of annoyed by the fact that how much I hate Johnson, but I have, when I'm involved in it, like when I get engaged in a conversation about a certain topic, I tend to go on it for a lot of minutes doing it. And when it's that I fucking hate, then that's where I go fucking off. Case in point, Johnson, Kyle, Danica, Pagano, Brian France, Mike Help, and all these other dickheads. I can go on for a couple hours at least talking about why I hate Johnson, what I think he's doing, why I think he's better for the sport, blah blah blah. But yeah, it didn't take me long to tell everyone how much I hate fucking pitchback. It really doesn't take that long in any case.
Yeah, that one I wanted to see how long it took into the show, and I think it took 3 minutes. I think we need to aim for after we do the intro.
Yeah.
One of us just has to say Jimmy Johnson. I think that would just be the way for Adam to go. I think just say Jimmy Johnson. That's what's going to be the off season. I think that's an idea. Liz, you just throw out names and we just start ranting. The two of us just start going crazy for no reason.
I'm trying to get Queers for Gears, Adam Lovelace, and Michael T. Myers on the show for the end of the year recap. I haven't heard back from them, but I would love to have guests on the show and talk about stuff for the off. Well, we need to talk to Little Red Boy. We got to have him on the show. That will be one of we got to talk about him. Talk about the book that I think he wrote.
Yeah, he was one of the major parts of it. He was a big part of it, and he tells the truth about the sport.
Yeah.
The real truth.
All right. Chris Buescher is already a casualty and one-eyed Jack's shenanigans. Look at Daytona, where he made him mess up qualifying to ensure the talented pack made the field. Seriously, and he also wrote, seriously, Reed did nothing to earn that ride other than to get diabetes. That's not nice, by the way.
Well, that's not a question as much as it is.
He wrote. So I'm like.
But the thing is, I mean, Ryan Reed. No offense to the guy. I mean, I understand. I mean, at least Charlie Kimball won something before he got to IndyCar racing. At least Charlie Kimball actually had one in an Indy Lights car. Before he got there, and then he has an Ovalog Flex Span. He brought the money, and he's actually won an IndyCar race, and he's a solid yet unspectacular driver. Nothing that I've seen in Ryan Reed's entire career in whatever form of racing he's been in tells me that that he's deserving of one of the bigger rides in the sport. I understand. That's my buddy. So when he gets crazy, he's kind of like Adam or myself. So, but the truth is, I mean, Chris Buescher. I really hope that they don't screw him up because he's got way too much talent to be getting buried by the stupidity that is Roush Racing.
Okay. Why does No Neck Newman always find a reason to bitch? We already talked about that. Does Dana Crap need glasses after Sunday's race? No.
He just needs to get the fuck out of the 10 and fucking leave NASCAR. That's
it.
That's the fact. Getting glasses won't help Danica. It'll probably just make it worse. She'll probably be in the wall by lap 3 because her eyes will be so dilated. She'll be fucking going crazy. She'll be like wondering where's the brake and where's the clutch and where's the gas pedal. She'll so fucking disoriented, she won't even know where the fuck she's going. So, no, she doesn't need glasses. She just needs to get the fuck out of NASCAR and let real drivers race. That's what I say.
Okay, how many cars will Milka Duno take out Friday night at Bristol? I think the most of the field, like, I'll just say 39 cars, because...
That's the whole entire field.
I'll be realistic and say, like, at least 8 or 9, maybe 10.
I'll go on I'll take the under on that. I'll probably go and say 5 to 7, because at the end of the day, there's like, I don't know how many starting parks that'll probably be in the show, so that cuts down a portion of the field. And because she's going to be so slow, I have a hard time believing that any of the fun people, unless they run up on her so quick, would probably get wrecked. Otherwise, I mean, she's just going to be in the way, really, like she was her whole entire IndyCar career. I figure somebody dumps her out of the way and solves the problem for all of us, and we're all wrong anyway. I figure one of the Cup guys will get fed up with her bull and just put her in the wall, and she'll be done in like 30 laps. But, we'll see.
Okay.
They'll make it entertaining on Friday for sure.
Yeah, which, by the way, Nationwide, I probably won't be watching because I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I have an 8:30 flight. So, I'm going to have a fun time. Okay, but, yeah, we forgot to predict Bristol. Let's see. I'm not going to be watching it, so I think it's going to be a okay race. I'm just hoping Kyle Busch doesn't win Camping World and Nationwide or Sprint. So.
I'm going to go in and say, like, the Cup race, it'll probably be someone like Hamlin comes out of nowhere, might get a surprise winner, Kansas will go back-to-back, or maybe Casey Kane will actually get a fucking win for the first time this year, or we could see Brad go back to victory lane, or maybe Edwards do the Bristol sweep, or we could see Kurt Busch go back to victory lane at Bristol for the first time in fucking at least 9 years, 10 years. Actually, no, 8 years.
2006
was the last time that he won. Yeah, 2006. So 8 years, the last time Kurt. So I don't really see like Harvick or Gordon or any of those big timers coming up there and dominating, but it would be cool to see. But that's who I think will be good ones at Bristol for sure. Maybe Larson.
I mean, it's a wide open show. I'll go out and I'll pick Young Money to win his first Cup race. It'll be a huge deal. Guarantee him in the chase. I think for some reason I have a feeling about Logano running pretty solid there this week. I mean, he's been there, and then usually something always happens. Usually he gets taken out because he's a bitch. But I figure it's either one of those two or Kevin Harvick, because he had the fastest car and had a mechanical problem in March. And then in terms of nationwide, I'll just make a generalization. It's going to be a Cup guy. What Cup guy it is, I don't know. It's going to be a Cup guy. Harvick is in, Kyle Busch. Oh, Blaney's in the 22. That's interesting.
That's good.
So that takes out that car. Eric Jones is in the 20, so that's pretty cool. Hermie Sadler randomly is in the race, so
okay,
that's guaranteed wreck.
Which, by the way, I need to say this once and for all. Hermie Sadler, please stop whoring your autistic child just to get rides.
Oh God, he's just like his brother. They're just like
I'm sorry, but any celebrity that has autism, don't treat your autistic children like they're some kind of god. Give them a normal life. Let them be normal. Don't make them like special.
How can you be normal when you're a Sadler?
I don't know. Well, I'm just saying, it's like Jenny McCarthy, horse her son. Jacqueline Loretta from the Housewives, horse her son. The list goes on and on.
Well, Jenny McCarthy sucked so much dick, it's not even funny. I mean, that's a whole other thing. She sucked Heff's dick, so what does it matter if she goes and whores her son? I mean, it's par for the course. And then a Real Housewife of New Jersey, she has nothing else better to do with her life except take loads. So I figure, one of the Cup guys in Nationwide, and then for trucks, let's see, it's
Brad and Kyle.
Brad and Kyle are running in the truck race tomorrow.
They better not win.
I figure one of those two wins it. Pretty likely. Would like to see Brad actually win his first truck race so he can complete the career, the triple, be one of the people who's won in all three series.
Oh, for the love of God, don't. That's my.
I mean, honestly, I was wondering when Brad's actually going to get that first truck win, but I feel that when he does, it's going to be basically when Kyle dominates in the first two lower tier series compared to Cup, where Brad's already dominating Nationwide enough as it is, along with Kyle. So I think when he gets that first win, most of the time when he runs, he'll have a chance to win, just like Kyle. But that won't hinder his Sprint Cup success, unlike Kyle, because Kyle literally puts too much focus on his Nationwide truck teams compared to running in Cup and actually competing for a championship, which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Before we go into plugs, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. You guys know who Adam Carolla is, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's getting sued by these patent trolls, and they wanted to They wanted to throw out the case, dismiss the case without prejudice. That means they want to refile later on. Adam Carolla says absolutely not. I'm going to fight you guys. So go to funanything.com and help Adam defeat these patent trolls. But if he loses, we all lose, and we can't do any podcasting. We have to pay if they win. So we will post a link on our group page if you guys would like to donate. I've already donated. So all right. So that being said, it's plugs time. Yay! Proud members of the geeksoftheindustry.com. 9 shows. geeksoftheindustry.com, Mega Powers Radio, Wrestling with Smut, Pro Wrestling Nation, Clark Glitch International, Chatastrophe, Sleep Notes, and Geeks on Film. Check those shows out, because I am not a big fan of explaining every single one of them. NXT Cast, I was on that show a couple days ago. Just check that out. It was a long episode, but if you go 30 minutes towards the end, I make an appearance. Let's see. Wrestling Radio Australia, Josh Armour, Todd Eastman. They're Australians that talk about wrestling. Butts and Seats podcast, if you're a big fan of the olden days of WCW, that's a good podcast. Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. Kevin Castle's dad passed away, so our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family during this difficult time. Let's see. Turnbuckle Throwbacks with Phil and Dave. Phil, if you're listening, you did a great job. You and Anthony Missionary Thomas did a fabulous job filling in for Don Tony yesterday. You should pat yourself in the back. And let's see who else. I got tons of plugs here. Blog Show, Pop Culture, check that out. And finally, Shining Wizards. They talk about wrestling and wrestling talk, all that fun stuff. NASCAST, we're on Twitter at NASCAST500. Please follow us. I'm at Elizabeth Moxley. Also follow me, but some of the stuff I post is not safe for work, and I might offend people. I forgot the website for our shirts, so go buy one, please, because we need the money. Actually, Chunky needs the money because I don't think we get paid for it. Let's see what else. Oh, please, always forgot to mention this. Please rate us, give us comments, good or bad, we don't care, on iTunes and Stitcher, because we need them. because we definitely need them. Boys, how about you?
Well, my Twitter is at Desert Bandit. I'm not on there that much, but I would love new followers, and that would probably entice me more to go on Twitter because I would have followers. I only have like 86 at the moment, and a lot of them are spam followers. So yeah, follow me there. I'm on YouTube. I have 165 subscribers on YouTube. So follow me at youtube.com/user/SunnyBurnett1988, and I'm on Facebook, mostly posting about NASCAR all the time. Basically, my opinions on what I do in NASCAST is basically like the same opinions I post on my regular Facebook. I also post a lot of statuses that if I might offend a lot of people if you do that, but just heads up in case you do. Facebook.com/Adam Lowstone Rider, and that's my Facebook.
All right, for me, I'm on Twitter at Philip G. Mathew, and you can find me on Facebook there. Usually, whatever I post on Twitter, I have linked on to my Facebook page. I usually go and link racing stories, whatever, all types of racing stories, onto my Twitter or my Facebook. So, if you want to keep up with anything cool with racing, usually I have it up there. Usually stuff that actually isn't bullshit either, so give us a follow.
One more thing, facebook.com/groups/NASCAST500, or if you want to join the main group, facebook.com/groups